Hey, good morning. Today's video was totally unplanned until I went digging through the pantry and found 4 huge onions. Why I have those 4 huge onions, I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna make, but I figured, hey, I'll make onion rings in the Emerald air fryer. When you read all the recipes, you're only supposed to use the big outside rings. It tells you to save the rest of the onion for other recipes. Well, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna make French onion soup. Not just any French onion soup, the ultimate French onion soup. I've got this Cook's Illustrated Best All-Time Soups. And there is a French onion soup in here. It's called the Ultimate French Onion Soup. And this is what we're gonna make today. And oddly enough, it requires 4 pounds of onions. I have 3 3/4 pounds. So this should work out very good. Now this recipe is not a quick one because we got to cook for an hour in the oven, then we got to cook it for another hour and 3/4, and then there's another 30-minute process. So this is going to be, I'm going to allot 4 hours to make this soup, but it's just going to cook away in a Dutch oven in the oven. So it won't be much work on my part. The recipe tells you to cut it in half through the root end and then cut the halves into 1/4 inch thick slices. I stink at that. None of my slices come out uniform. So here's what I did. I used a mandolin to give me 1/4 inch thick slices. And I just took them out of the bowl and I'm just going to cut each one of these in half. Just like so. And that gives us our onion halves. Right into the bowl. Super simple and everything will cook exactly the same. Let me finish up these onions. Got the oven preheated to 400. Lubed up the inside of that Dutch oven with grapeseed oil, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. We're gonna add the onions. We got the onions in the pot. Gonna sprinkle a teaspoon of salt over them, put the lid on, cook them for an hour. In they go on the lower middle rack. We'll set the timer for an hour. We got the old backup timer in case I don't hear the oven timer. This timer is pretty cool. Check this out. Stir the onions.
Stir the onions.
You don't forget what you're doing. Because when you're barbecuing, you can drink too much and forget what stage of the cooking stage you're in. This reminds you. And it will remind you with 4 different items.
Stir the onions. Stir the onions.
All right, let's stir the onions. Okay, these are the onions after 1 hour. Oh, they're nice and soft. Oh man, these things smell so good. Ooh-wee. All right, so the directions say to stir them. Now we're gonna put them back in for another hour and a half to an hour 3/4, and we're gonna stir them at the 1 hour point. But the lid has to remain cocked. I've got this bamboo skewer. Whenever I make tomato sauce or I make anything where you can't have a tightly sealed lid, I'll put this in there. And this keeps that lid cracked just a hair and crap doesn't splatter and fly all over the place. What a fine job that bamboo skewer does keeping that lid cracked. Okay, we're going back in the oven. Okay, recipe says to cook them for another hour and a half, hour 3/4, but stir them after an hour. So I still got the 1 hour set in here to stir the onions. Now we're gonna add a second timer. We'll go 1 hour and a half first. Remove the onions.
Remove the onions.
Yeah, baby. Got both timers set. I still got 2. Oh, we'll do 1 more. Have another cocktail.
Have another cocktail.
Can't beat that. All right, we'll be back.
Stir the onions.
Okay, let's stir the onions. Can't forget the oven mitts. Oh, look at that glazed goodness in there. Scrape that stuff off the sides if we can here. Because we're going to deglaze this with water 2 or 3 times on the next episode of instructions. It's amazing how much onions cook down because this pot was full when we started this. All right, 30 more minutes. Let's remove the onions. We're going to finish this off on the cooktop now. So a couple of minutes ago, I turned the burner on medium high, and that's where we're going to finish these babies off. Now the instructions don't say so. I'm going to assume we cook this with the lid off because I've made onion jam before, same kind of process. And you got to keep cooking till liquid evaporates. Oh, look how good that is. Man, this smells so good. Yeah, look at that. That's what you want. So I got the burner on medium-high heat. Now we're gonna cook the liquid out of this. We want this with a dark brown crust on the bottom. So we're gonna go about like 20 minutes. And we're gonna keep stirring this. We don't wanna burn it, but we wanna seriously brown it. Oh man, this smells so good. Wow. If you like onions, I would recommend making onion jam. Damaris Phillips makes a kick-ass onion jam recipe. I've made it before. It's absolutely delicious. It's time consuming, but well worth the effort. All right, we're gonna cook this for about 20-25 minutes. Okay, so we're 15 minutes in to cooking this on the stove top and scraping the bottom of the pan. I had to turn mine down to, I turned the heat down to medium low just to keep that stuff sizzling and cooking along. Now you probably look at that and saying, well, Steve, that's a bunch of burnt shit in there. Well, no, it's not. That burnt stuff on that spatula is sugary goodness. Man, there's nothing burnt about these onions. That's sugary goodness. Oh man, damn, that's good. And don't worry, it's COVID season. I'm not sharing that with anybody, so I won't be getting any germs on anybody else, but this is all mine. Damn, that shit's good. Okay, we're gonna start deglazing this, 1/4 cup of water at a time. We're gonna cook it for like 6-7 minutes. Throw another 1/4 cup of water in there. Our onions are very dark and brown. All right, now we gotta add a 1/2 cup of wine. I'm not a wine drinker, but it doesn't taste like shit, so I'm sure it's good to go. Put a 1/2 cup of that in there. We'll finish it off. All right, we'll cook this till it evaporates. This smells so damn delicious. Holy crap. All right, we'll let that reduce and get the broth ready. Okay, now we're gonna add chicken broth. 4 cups. I've got 2 cups of chicken broth I made with the Better Than bouillon. It says to add 2 more cups of water, 2 bay leaves. It says 1 bay leaf, but these are small, so we'll do 2. And it calls for 6 sprigs of thyme. I don't have any thyme sprigs. I have the thyme spice. So 3 tablespoons of the dried thyme in the spice jar is equal to 6 sprigs. So I got this little tea house full of thyme. I'm going to stick it in there. I don't want to lose it. We'll just tie it in there and give this a stir. Well, it's like a fishing lure. We're going to add another 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're going to bring it to a simmer, and we're going to cover it and let it go for 30 minutes. Okay, this has come up to a simmer. I'm going to put the lid on, reduce the heat to a medium low. We'll go 30 minutes. Soup is done. We're going to put some of this in a bowl with some bread, some cheese, hit the broiler, and have us some French onion soup. Yeah! Because this video is impromptu, I toasted me some country white bread. I've got some grated Parmesan, because I don't have any Gruyere cheese. And we're going to make us French onion soup, stick this under the broiler, and have us some dinner. All right, there's our French onion soup over the country toasted white bread. Now we're going to throw another one on top here, just like so. And we're going to put us grated Parmesan on top. We're going to stick this bad boy in the Emerald air fryer. Hey, we're going to use the air fryer after all, yahoo! All right, we get the Emerald air fryer set for broil. Make sure that bowl doesn't shatter, because I have no idea if that is broiler proof, but we will find out. This French onion soup, 4 hours from start to when my ass is in the chair to eat this. All right, let's dig into this. Oh man, that is so good. I've made a lot of French onion soup in my life, but this is the first one that's called for white wine instead of red wine, and chicken broth. I've always used beef broth and red wine. This is good. Is this worth the 4 hours it took to cook this? Oh, absolutely. That has such a good flavor. It's robust. I think the 2 hours, 2.5 hours it took to sweat down those onions is what made the difference. I've never had a French onion soup that had the onions that dark before I've added anything else to it. Oh, you know, even though I have the wrong bread and the wrong cheese, I gotta give 2 thumbs up to this recipe. Shit's delicious. You know, the weather was crappy. I wasn't going anywhere today. I had all day to spend at home. So 4 hours to cook the soup, no big deal. You're not gonna cook this in a hurry. I have made French onion soup quicker than this, but not as tasty as this. Well, hey, thanks for watching. Cheers with an icy cold gin and tonic. Make yourself some French onion soup because this stuff is good. Take care. See you later.